All human thought, all mental man's experience moves between a constant affirmation and negation. There is for his mind no truth of idea, no result of experience that cannot be affirmed, none that cannot be negated. It has negated the existence of the individual being, negated the existence of the cosmos, negated the existence of any immanent or underlying reality, negated any reality beyond the individual and the cosmos. But it is constantly affirming these things, sometimes one of them solely, or any two, or all of them together. It has to do so because our thinking mind is in its very nature an ignorant dealer in possibilities, not possessing the truth behind any of them, but sounding and testing each in turn or many together, if so perchance it may get at some settled belief or knowledge about them, some certitude. Yet, living in a world of relativities and possibilities, it can arrive at no final certainty, no absolute and abiding conviction. Even the actual, the realized, can present itself to our mentality as a maybe or may not be, syadva na syadva, or as is, as an is under the shadow of the might not have been, and wearing the aspect of that which will not be hereafter. Our life being is also afflicted by the same incertitude. It can rest in no aim of living from which it can derive a sure and final satisfaction, or to which it can assign an enduring value. Our nature starts from facts and actualities which it takes for real. It is pushed beyond them into a pursuit of uncertain possibilities and led eventually to question all that it took as real. For it proceeds from a fundamental ignorance and has no hold on assured truth. Okay. All truths on which it relies for a time are found to be partial, incomplete, and questionable. So Srimla is making a fantastic statement here.
The question is, from this mental point of view,
Yeah.
how does the sadhak get into the higher mind?
Oh, someone is asking that question.
Me.
Oh, okay. The higher mind is a spiritual level of consciousness. There, as I spoke of 3 levels, the level 1 is where we normally are. And we are identified with our body, our vital, and our mind, and we are in ignorance. We see the many in the physical world and we take them to be realities. We don't see the reality behind the forms. Now, how do you get to the second level of the spiritual planes of consciousness, which includes the higher mind? That you do by yoga. That you do by yoga. And yoga is not one, there are 100 ways of doing it. So, one way is to silence the mind. The other way is to grow in evolution from life to life and then finally attain a place where you get to the knowledge. But it's also possible to contact the divine without going to the higher mind. You can contact through the heart, through emotion. Okay? So there are so many ways of doing. But your question about the higher mind is at this level 2. That has to necessarily be done by silencing the mind. And silencing the mind also can be done in several ways. Okay? So one way is to sit in concentration and stop thinking. Every time your mind strays away from what you are trying to concentrate on, bring it back, pull it back. This is the method of the Gita. Okay? Pull the mind back to what you are concentrating on. It will keep on moving away. But this is one way. The other way is to separate yourself from the thoughts. Try to distinguish between the thought and the thinker. Make a separation between the thought and the thinker. We feel that we are thinking. That's not true, because we are identified with the truth, with the mind, okay, with the thought. We are identified with the thought. I can make a distinction between myself and my body, isn't it? I can see that my body is separate from me.
Yes.
I can also see that my emotions are separate from me. I can examine my own emotions. So there is someone who is examining the emotions and someone who is having the emotions. So I can separate the two. But normally it happens only after the emotion has come. Similarly, the thought also, we can look at the thought objectively, but that happens usually after the thought has come. But can you look at your thought while it is happening? Then you have made a separation between thinker and thought. Then you can go to the higher mind level.
This is what Temi told me. She said she sees the thoughts coming in and she just lets them go through and pays no attention to them.
Yes, but that's the most difficult thing. That's the most difficult one, because that was what he did was dynamic. Okay, looking at your thought, but I can't look at my thoughts. I can only examine them, but I can't see them entering my mind. So what Sri Aurobindo is saying, Narad, be very clear, he is seeing the thoughts coming from outside into his mind. And before they were coming, he is throwing them out. But we can't see the thoughts coming in. At least most people can't. I can't. If you can, you are already at a higher level of consciousness. So that is another method. So there are 3-4 methods.
Is that why he had to meet Lele?
Is that?
Is that why he had to meet Bhaskar Lele?
I am not getting the question, Narad.
Is that why Sri Aurobindo met Bhaskar Lele?
Yes. It is Bhaskar Lele who taught him, okay? Vishnu Bhaskar Lele. He taught him how to silence his mind. He said, look at your thoughts. And Bhaskar Lele could not do anything. It is Sri Aurobindo himself who managed to do that within one day, okay? So that's right. So there are so many ways of doing that. There is the Sankhya method, there is the Jnana Yoga method, and there is another method which Sri Aurobindo also says, the widening your mind, not trying to silence it, but widen it. That's another method. There are several methods. So once you have gone there, then you start seeing the reality of things. You don't see only the forms, you see the reality behind the forms. Okay? So now what Sri Aurobindo is saying here is that everything that exists can be contradicted in thought as in experience. So we will give examples of each one as we go along. Okay. All human thought, all mental man's experience moves between a constant affirmation and negation. Okay. So there is for his mind no truth of idea, no result of experience that cannot be affirmed, none that cannot be negated. So we will have a look at each one. He is giving several cases. It has negated the existence of the individual being. Narad doesn't exist, nor do I exist, because Narad thinks that he is his body, mind, life. Okay? And that is not true. So it will disappear. So who is saying that the individual being does not exist? The Buddhist also says that. Okay? The Mayavadan also says that. Then negated the existence of the cosmos. The Mayavada is saying there is no cosmos. It is only a shadow play of images. Negated the existence of any immanent or underlying reality. That is a materialist. The materialist is saying there is nothing beyond the physical world. Okay? Negated any reality behind the individual and the cosmos. So that is a Buddhistic. But it is also constantly affirming these things. The world is real, the individual is real, and the divine also is real. Okay? Some one of them solely, or any two, or all of them together. It has to do so because our thinking mind is in its very nature an ignorant dealer in possibilities, not possessing the truth behind any of them, but sounding and testing each in turn or many together, if so perchance it may get at some settled belief or knowledge about them, some certitude. This is the method of science. Science takes something and tests it, make experiments and sees what is possible, what is not possible. So they go step by step by tâtonnement, if you want, that is a groping, that's a method. So, because human mind is ignorant basically, that's why. Okay, so yet living in a world of relativities and possibilities, it can arrive at no final certainty, no absolute and abiding conviction. This is at the level of our normal level 1, when we are in ignorance. You can never arrive at truth when you are at level 1, okay, in the world. Even the actual, the realized, can present itself to our mentality as a may be or may not be. Syadva na syadva. This is the Jainism theory. Jainism says that nothing can be known in its entirety. Nothing, no single thing can be known in its entirety. Suppose I have to describe my pen. Okay? I say it is made of plastic. I say it has got a liquid ink inside it. I say it is this long. I say it is weight, this much weight. I can go on describing and I can go on describing, but I will never exhaust everything. Then I have to tell what it is not. It is not steel, it is not white, it is not this, it is not that. Therefore, you can never arrive at a finality. So, this is Jainist theory. To get the finality of things, you have to go to the next level of consciousness. So, that's the Syadva na Syadva is the Jainist philosophy. Or as an is under the shadow of the might not have been. Okay? So, something is, and before you know anything, you have gone on to the next, into the future. So, did that really exist? Or is it something that did not exist? Okay? So, every second the past is gone, and the past, was it real or was it not real? The question always remains. Okay? So, our and wearing the aspect of that which will not be hereafter. Everything goes on changing in the physical world. No? Nothing is static. So, you can always doubt what has been in the past. So, our life being, the vital, is also afflicted by the same incertitude. It can rest in no aim of living from which it can derive a sure or final satisfaction. So, neither can we have knowledge of anything in the physical world, nor the vital can ever be satisfied fully. That's what he's saying. Okay? Can derive a sure and final satisfaction. To every satisfaction that you have at vital level, there can be an opposite and equally unpleasant experience, unsatisfaction, dissatisfaction, or to which it can assign an enduring value. Our nature, human nature, starts from facts and actualities which it takes for real. It is pushed beyond them into a pursuit of uncertain possibilities and led eventually to question all that it took as real. For it proceeds from the fundamental ignorance and has no hold on assured truth. All the truths on which it relies for a time are found to be partial, incomplete and questionable. So, suppose we are at this level of consciousness and I am seeing things, your image on the screen is real for me now, the computer itself is real, my book is real, okay, absolutely. I can touch it, I can read it, I can have absolutely, all my senses will tell you that it is real. I raise my consciousness to the level 2, the spiritual planes of consciousness, and that which seemed permanent and real is real no more. It becomes an illusion, it becomes a shadow play. The book is there today, but after 100 years it may not be there. So, it's doubtful whether its existence is absolute. So, this is now the world which was real to you has now become unreal to you. Then you go to the third level, the world again becomes real, but this time not in the sense that you are experiencing in the level 1. You see the reality behind things. And Mother says something fantastic. She says that if you go to the supramental level, even the spiritual truths are no more that certain and absolute. So imagine that. Yeah. So how the relativity of all the planes of existence, there is no end to it. That's exactly what Srila is stressing in this para. That everything can be questioned, everything can be affirmed, and there is no certainty at all, even at the spiritual level. Okay, so
We go to the next para.
yes, and the next para deals with the materialistic view. Okay, so one by one he will deal with the materialistic view, then the vital view, and then the mental view. At the outset, man lives in his physical mind, which perceives the actual, the physical, the objective. Now, he is making three. What is the actual? What is the physical? What is the objective? But we'll do one thing. We'll finish the para and come back to it.
Okay.
We'll read the para entirely and then come back to it. And accepts it as fact, and this fact as self-evident truth beyond question. Whatever is not actual, not physical, not objective, it regards as unreal or unrealized, only to be accepted as entirely real when it has succeeded in becoming actual, becoming a physical fact, becoming objective. Its own being too, it regards as an objective fact, warranted to be real by its existence in a visible and sensible body. All other subjective beings and things it accepts on the same evidence, insofar as they can become objects of our external consciousness or acceptable to that part of the reason which builds upon the data supplied by that consciousness and relies upon them as one solid basis of knowledge. Physical science is a vast extension of this mentality. It corrects the errors of the sense and pushes beyond the first limitations of the sense mind by discovering means of bringing facts and objects not seizable by our corporeal organs into the field of objectivity. But it has the same standard of reality, the objective, the physical actuality. Its test of the real is possibility of verification by positive reason and objective evidence. So, this is the physical world what he is saying. But let us see what he is meaning by so many different words he is using. So, at the outset, man lives in his physical mind, which perceives the actual, physical and objective. The first thing to be noted is the physical mind. The mind has got three levels: the physical mind, the vital mind, and the pure mind. So, the physical mind is, in Indian psychology, the manas. The manas is that which interprets the senses. The senses collect data from the physical world and pass it through nerves to the brain. And the brain has to tell you what you are seeing, or what you are hearing, or what you are smelling, or what you are tasting and touching. If the brain doesn't work, then what you see or feel through the senses makes no sense to you at all. The proof of that is the baby. The baby, all the senses are working, but he understands nothing at all. He hears the sounds, he doesn't know the language, he doesn't understand a word. He sees his own mother, he doesn't know who she is. So, this is the physical mind. and the physical mind, the actual, the physical and objective. So, what is the actual? Existing as fact, real, not imagined, estimated or guessed, current, present. This is the actual.
Is this the area of empiric knowledge?
Pardon?
Is this the area of empiric knowledge?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Then the physical. What does he mean by the physical? Relating to body rather than mind. Okay, bodily, relating to objects that can be seen or felt. Material, relating to nature or to the laws of nature. This is the physical. Then we have the objective. Okay, not depending on or influenced by personal opinions or prejudices. This is the objective. Relating to external facts as opposed to internal thoughts and feelings. Having existence outside the mind. This is the objective. So he has used three different words. Okay, so and accepts it as fact, and this fact as self-evident truth beyond question. So in the physical world, we see things and we think that it is absolutely real. There is no question that all the forms that we see in the physical world are real. Okay. Whatever is not actual, not physical, not objective, it regards as unreal or unrealized, only to be accepted as entirely real when it has succeeded in becoming actual, becoming a physical fact, becoming objective. Okay. Its own being too, it regards as an objective fact. My own body, mind, life, warranted to be real by its existence in a visible and sensible body. Sensible, verifiable by the senses. That's sensible. The word sensible can mean something else also. He is a sensible man, not in that sense. So, not in that sense. Sensible, open and verifiable by the senses. Okay. So, all other subjective beings and things it accepts on the same evidence insofar as they can become objects of our external consciousness or acceptable to that part of the reason which builds upon the data supplied by that consciousness and relies upon them as one solid basis of knowledge. So, this is the definition of what we consider real to be in the physical world. Physical science is a vast extension of this mentality, because physical science now can see, or rather knows, that there are vibrations which is not open to the senses. Okay? The waves for the television, waves for the phones. So, all these are things which science knows is real but cannot sense. It is not acceptable to the senses, not accessible to the senses. Okay, so physical science is a vast extension of this mentality. It corrects the errors of the sense and pushes beyond the first limitations of the sense mind by discovering means of bringing facts and objects not seizable by our corporeal organs into the field of objectivity. Now, this, what science is correcting, the first sense data. The first way of knowing things is the sense data. Science goes beyond sense data. One example that Sri Aurobindo himself gives is, I see the sun rising. It comes out from the sea and is rising slowly, it is going up. This is what the senses tell you. But science says, no, that's an illusion. It's not the sun going up at all. It's the earth that is moving around the sun, and you don't see the earth movement. So, it corrects the errors of the sense and pushes beyond the first limitations of the sense mind by discovering means of bringing facts and objects not seizable to our corporeal organs. Corporeal organs, eyes, ears, smell, touch, the skin. These are the corporeal organs. But it has the same standard of reality, the objective, the physical actuality. Its test of the real is possibility of verification by positive means and objective evidence. So, this is the science goes beyond senses, and it depends on three things: experimentation, verification, and repeatability. Once it can do this, it is convinced that there is some reality to it. Okay? So, this is what Srimati is saying. Now, Srimati discusses the vital. What is real to the vital? He has told us what is real to the physical. Now, the vital. But man also has a life mind, a vital mentality, which is an instrument of desire. Okay? This is not satisfied with the actual, it is a dealer in possibilities. It has the passion for novelty and is seeking always to extend the limits of experience for the satisfaction of desire for enjoyment. The main function of the vital mind is satisfaction of desire and enjoyment, for an enlarged self-affirmation and aggrandizement of its terrain of power and profit. It desires, enjoys, possesses actualities, but it hunts also after unrealized possibilities, is ardent to materialize them, to possess and enjoy them also. It is not satisfied with the physical and the objective only, but seeks too a subjective, an imaginative, a purely emotive satisfaction and pleasure. If there were not this factor, the physical mind of man left to itself would live like an animal, accepting this first actual physical life and its limits as his whole possibility, moving in material nature's established order and asking for nothing beyond it. This is the animal existence. Okay. But this vital mind, this unquiet life will, comes in with its demands and disturbs this inert or routine satisfaction which lives penned within the bounds of actuality. Okay. The life will starts making demands. I want this, I want that. Goes beyond the actual. It enlarges always desire and craving, creates a dissatisfaction and unrest, a seeking for something more than what life seems able to give it. It brings about a vast enlargement of the field of physical actuality by the actualization of our unrealized possibilities, but also a constant demand for more and always more, a quest for new worlds to conquer, an incessant drive towards an exceeding of the bounds of circumstance and a self-exceeding. To add to this cause of unrest and incertitude, there comes in a thinking mind that inquires into everything, questions everything, builds up affirmations and unbuilds them, erects systems of certitude, but finally accepts none of them as certain, affirms and questions the evidence of the senses, follows out the conclusions of the reason, but undoes them again to arrive at different or quite opposite conclusions, and continues indefinitely, if not ad infinitum, this process. This is the history of human thought and human endeavor, a constant breaking of bounds, only to move always in the same spirals, enlarged perhaps, but following the same or constantly similar curves of direction. The mind of humanity, ever seeking, ever active, never arrives at a firmly settled reality of life's aims and objects, or at a settled reality of its own certitudes and convictions, an established foundation or firm formation of its idea of existence. So, this is the problem with the vital mind, that it will never find satisfaction fully, nor is it ever satisfied with anything. It wants more and more always. There is constantly and that's what gives it the unsettled restlessness. This is what Chandra is saying.